Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now on a Tuesday here in the CZ studios. Mark Walters in front of the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center. Hot microphone. The on-air lights are out there blinking if you're driving by. Greg in Dallas, Tejas. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Have we made it to Friday yet?
Don't wish your life away, Holmes. Don't do that. Especially, well, we have a good guest today. We have Lee Williams doing his regular Tuesday gig today. That'll help get us to Friday a little quicker. And if you're watching, you can watch us on Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, and Greg will tell you how to do the rest of that stuff. And then, guys, I had a breakthrough at my guitar lesson today, Greg. I want to tell the world. But let's get some business out of the way first.
All right, sure. Yeah, any other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can watch us on X at AAR Mark. You can also head on over to the website, armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your Watch Live or Listen Live option. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, that'll do it. And if you're watching today, I hope you are. It's a lot of fun. You got Corvette hair. Don't care. Corvette hair. Don't care. Had that lesson late today. I got stopped by a train.
Oh.
So I got back just in time to hit the studio. Yeah, I had to wait for a train that wasn't there. Long enough.
One of those.
One of those. But it was it was one of those good days where, as it turns out, the lesson ahead of me called in and couldn't make it. So when I got there, I was able to take her slot.
All right.
So, that kind of worked.
Happens.
I felt bad for her, but I took her slot anyway. But I had a breakthrough. Really? Yeah, I know. Shut up. I had a breakthrough anyway. When you can't describe something to someone and you don't know what it's called, but you can hear it in your head and you want to play it and you can't play it, and that's what you're trying to learn how to do. Mm-hmm. And you cannot describe that to someone who's instructing you, and it's very frustrating.
All I know.
And today it happened. And now I know what to do. It was as simple as barring 2 strings. And that was it. And guys, if you play a guitar, you know what I'm talking about. I was able to do the trills, moving up and down the and it doubled my solo ability speeds. And I had been so frustrated for the longest time because I hadn't been able. Well, I don't get frustrated with the guitar. I just keep trying it. It is more fun because it's such an accomplishment, So I don't get mad at it or anything like that. I thought I would. My mom and dad are surprised I haven't thrown the guitars out in the creek behind the house, but because they know my personality. But with the guitar, I haven't been like that. I'm like, no, you got this, dude. You got this. And boy, I'd be telling you, it's fun learning. But, yeah, that was maddening. That's enough of that stuff. Lee Williams is sitting over there. I can see him there. He's waiting. Let's bring him up on stage. Lee, the Gunwriter Williams, welcome in, my brother. How you doing, man?
Good, man. What have you thrown in the creek behind the house to hide? That's what I want to know.
Well, I don't know. If you're alluding to bump stocks and pistol braces, those don't go out in the creek. I just have this weird thing. I can't ever find them. When they need to get lost, they get lost. And somehow they find their way home when freedom rings again, okay? And that's happened.
Magic.
See, Lee knows. What haven't you thrown? It wasn't a boating accident, I can promise you that. Right? Yeah, a lot of people say, it must be a lot of boating accidents recently, No, that's not the case. Lee, we have a lot of fun stuff to talk with you about today, but on a solemn note, you and I have talked about Tate Adamiak for quite some time now, and today marks his 4th anniversary of incarceration, does it not? This is his 4th anniversary?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I have a story that's going tomorrow. I talked to Tate and his dad, Dave, at length. We have a story that'll post tomorrow. One thing we've never really talked about was Tate's mom, Senga.
Yeah, we have not ever talked about his mother. Is she holding up okay? Probably not.
Tate was going to, no. She passed away about 4 years ago. Oh. He was going to go home 4 years ago today and see her, although the ATF kicking in his doors and throwing him in jail. She died 30 days later. And her husband, Tate's dad, is convinced that this had something to do with it. He said it contributed to her death. It definitely did.
What do you even say? What do you even say? And the frustrating part about this is, Greg will want to get in on this, but no one is ever held responsible. ever.
Nope.
I know. ATF the old ATF has this one all over them, and they've all just left and moved on.
It's the all of government, though. I mean,
Right.
look at who all has been held responsible for all the deaths in New York State during COVID, or all the deaths across the country from COVID, all the doctors that were forcing the clot shots on everybody, all the
Right.
people that were that died in their nursing homes because Cuomo sent COVID patients into the elderly homes. There's millions of people we can name that have died across the globe for the crime against humanity, and not a single member of government anywhere is paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, this.
We can't think of
Go ahead, Lee.
too many more that the ATF has, whose lives the ATF has destroyed. I mean, you look at the gentleman that they entered his home in Mississippi and then shot him to death.
The airport exec.
But-
Airport exec. Let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's not forget him.
Yeah,
The
there aren't
ones.
too many that have been named.
Now, and the thing that bothers me more than any of it are the ones we don't know about.
Exactly.
And they're out there. They're probably out there by the thousands, and we don't know anything about them. So I applaud you for keeping this case at the forefront. Is there any hope for this young man at all at this point? Any hope whatsoever?
Yes, I would say yes. We are taking some steps behind the scenes, and the less that is said about that right now, the better. But hopefully, something will be coming soon. And by soon, I mean maybe this month.
Well, now, Lee, you know it's just me and you here talking. You can tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's not. Okay, all you new radio station affiliates out there, shh. Lee, go ahead. Tell us. No, I don't want to. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just funning with you. We don't want to do that.
I know.
We don't want to jeopardize in any way, shape, or form this young man getting out. But, Lee, we do have a number of new affiliates carrying the program right now for over the last couple of months, and I would appreciate it if you would just give us, we've got a couple minutes in this segment. Go ahead and take us to the break. Tell us what happened so those new listeners around the country can be brought up to speed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a young man who is incarcerated in New York State, or excuse me, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Might as well be. Although the prison app, he's probably worse off where he is now in Jersey than he is in New York. But having said that, take it away. Explain why he's there, and then when we come back, we'll move on to some other topics and wrap up that one.
He was an active duty Navy E6. He'd been picked to go to SEAL school. He actually had orders that he would have gone and tested his mettle in SEAL school. He probably would have been an officer. He's in E6. He also had a website where he sold gun parts, legally gun parts, not guns, gun parts. ATF under Joe Biden kicked down his doors, arrested him, and then they found nothing illegal, nothing. So they made up some charges. The story will have the photo of the toy Sten submachine gun that they said was a real machine gun. He had a toy M240, a fake gun, which they passed around the court, and everybody went, ooh and ah, how evil it looked. They ruined this man's life. He'd never been arrested, never been charged with anything. Was going to be a U.S. Navy SEAL, and now he's been in jail for 4 years. It's just maddening, all because of Joe Biden and the ATF.
An ATF that has, well, supposedly been brought into line under the Trump administration. There's a yes and no to that. I mean, that we could debate that all day long. It was the ATF and the DOJ
Right.
under Bondi who is no longer there. And I want to talk with you about Bondi when we come back. You and I have not had an opportunity to discuss that situation yet over the airwaves. We'll do that when we come back from the break as well. But the ATF is still out there defending a rule that has been tossed by a federal judge on the pistol brace deal. And the ATF claiming they
Right.
can still enforce it even though it's been enjoined. It's unbelievable what happens out there, ladies and gentlemen. And yet again, no accountability at all. And I kind of echo Greg's sentiments here. Like I said, I have never feared Bondi. We'll set this up. We'll segue into this now. When we come back, we'll go to Bondi. I never feared Bondi as head of AG, the head of DOJ. I never feared her at all. And the reason I didn't fear her was because I know who her boss is. And I know what the directives were that she was given. And I did not expect her to stray outside those guardrails. But what I didn't expect from her was her not to be as aggressive or to be overly aggressive. We can swing both ways on that in certain areas. And she failed miserably
20.
on both those counts, and also on the accountability aspect. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, you can hear the music. We're getting ready to take a hard break. We've got 3 more segments to go with Lee the Gunwriter Williams
10.
here on Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back indeed. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here on Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And to all of our new affiliates, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to have you with us today. We appreciate you carrying the program, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy bringing it to you 6 days a week. You are in the CZ studios with me in front of the Patriot Mobile Command Center microphone here at the ranch. And you just heard that rejoin for the National Rifle Association. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be in Houston in how many days is it? 9 days now, Greg. 9 days and counting, where we will be at the Voices of the 2A Media Row, bringing you this program, hopefully live. If not, we'll tape it an hour beforehand, so it'll be a live program for you either way. It just matters what kind of connections they allow us while we're there. So we're trying to find that out now before we get there so we can tell you with certainty. But either way, you'll have fresh content from the floor of the National Rifle Association. There will be a whole litany of guests that we'll be talking to, including the likes of Doug Hamlin and John Comerford, and the rest of them, John Comerford, and the rest of them. They'll all be there. And hopefully we can hook up with Ted Nugent and some others who will be walking the floor, no doubt. So make sure to tune in next week. We'll be there the 16th through the 19th. And we'll be taping up segments for that weekend's Monster Cast as well. Guys, you can visit all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. They're all up there for you. They're all great. Blackout Coffee, if you're watching on your screens, you can see that QR code. That's Blackout Coffee. And if you would do us a huge solid, we would really appreciate it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Many of you are doing that. We need you to do that. Help us take our social media back. They are opening the platform up for us. The more of you that subscribe and see the shorts coming out every single day and watch these programs live. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button there and ring the little bell so you get notified when our shorts are up. And say, hey, YouTube, bring it back. All right? They're working with us right now. That's fantastic news. It really, truly is. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, welcome back, my brother. It's always a pleasure to have you here. So
Great to be here.
let's talk a little bit about Bondi.
How old do you think she is?
Well, I know she does not look her age, but she's 60 years old, from what I understand.
Right. She turned 60.
It's hard to
not
believe.
look it.
No, she does not. In fact, she looks as good as she did when she was my prosecutor in Hillsborough County for those 18 years. I mean,
Absolutely.
she's like me. She just defies the laws of physics and gravity, bro. What can I tell you, But anyway,
Nice.
let me say this about Bondi. I'm glad she's gone. But I would have rather had her than anybody that Joe Biden put up or anybody that a Kamala Harris regime would have put up. And
Totally agree.
she's
Totally
out.
agree.
Pragmatist here. We just move on. She's no longer there. Not happy with a lot of what she did. Liked some of what she did. I think she blew one hell of an opportunity to align herself with gun owners down the road, because I don't see her going away anytime soon. She did not help herself in 2018 and beyond when what happened with Parkland and her efforts at pushing that gun control package that you now have to live with in the state of Florida, that is now in court trying to remove some of the nonsense that was put in place. And there are others that feel the same way about Bondi. Some couldn't stand her at all and didn't think she should have been there at all. And hey, Trump's the president. He made his pick. Like I said, I'd rather live with anybody he picked than anybody a Kamala Harris would have picked. But she's out. What are your thoughts on her being gone and now moving forward?
Well, first of all, don't forget that the Parkland bill was signed by our former governor, now senator.
That's right.
I have never thought much of Pam Bondi. That'd be Rick Scott, by the way. I've never thought much of her. I've never liked what she has done. I've never appreciated anything she's done. Fortunately, she hasn't done a lot. I mean, look at what she was going to tear into as the Attorney General of the United States. Nothing. She took on no action, really. Talked a lot about some videos and some photos that were taken. Never did a thing about them. Pam Bondi is, and I followed her long before she became the U.S. Attorney General, because I'm here in Florida. She's not much. She's a lot of talk, and that's about it. She's never really stuck and followed through on any legal case at all, really. I mean, she started out as a spokesperson for a local AG's office, but that's about it. I don't think much of her. I totally agree with you. She's 1,000% better than anything Kamala would have presented, but I'm glad she's gone. Hopefully she'll be in private practice somewhere.
Well, that's
probably in Florida.
Probably, but that's entirely up to her, and that's entirely up to who brings her on or whatever she does. She's no longer the AG, so we move on from there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at DOJ now. And we got some positive information from AWR Hawkins on the acting AG, and AWR happens to be
he's
friends with
good.
him. Yeah, he's very good. And it's hard. Let's reserve. You know, we said the same thing about Bondi when she went in. Her problem with me, where I had issues with her, and I mentioned it many, many times, was she has this huge tendency to just get out over her skis all the time. Talk a big game, right?
How many times a day has she been on Fox News when she was AG? She was on constantly. That was more important to her. Being noticed by the public was more important to her than actually doing her job.
Well, what I found interesting about that, and you're right, I'm not going to knock her. I think it was Neil McCabe was telling us the other day, that's part of her job is to get out there, you know, and do some of those things. That's fine. But she had a history on Fox News prior to going up, to becoming the AG. And she would always put out the right-wing talking points, which you would expect as a right-wing pundit on a conservative leaning as they are, however you want to describe Fox. Certainly more conservative than the MSDNCs or whatever they're calling themselves now, and the ABCs and NBCs so we can CBS, no doubt about that. But she was always putting these talking points out, these conservative talking points. And when she got to be AG, I think she realized, ruh-roh. It's not as easy to do it here with the deep state as it is to talk about it on Fox News and get out ahead of her skis. And when that happened, it just made her look stupid because nothing was getting done, as you rightfully pointed out. We still have no accountability at ATF for what they did to law-abiding Americans over the previous 5 years. We're going back 5 years now.
There are still killings of good law-abiding citizens that need to be resolved, that ATF agents were involved in. There were misdeeds by ATF. But, you know, she was the U.S. Attorney General, and I think that going from being Florida's AG to the U.S. Attorney General just blew her mind. The amount of power, the amount of people that wanted to talk to her, the job itself, I think just blew her mind. I can't remember how many times I have seen her walk up to a mic, and I'm not talking a Fox News mic, and freeze to just not know what to say. And it's like they have to almost prompt her into responding. I'm not ready to be AG, and neither was she, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Look,
DEI.
She didn't help herself at all in some of the hearings. Okay, but
No.
Hey, it's
so combative. I mean, she was combative as hell.
It's water under the bridge at this point because she's out. So we're going to move on and we figure out what happens now. Pam Bondi is no longer the AG. Whatever you think about her, she's history. We move on. That's just the way it is in politics. So we will move on. But again, I will say I would have rather had her there than anybody that Kamala Harris would have put in. Kamala Harris would have been a disaster. You think Bondi was bad at AG? Hell of a lot worse, ladies and gentlemen. The ATF probably been knocked on your door already. When we come back, 2 more segments with Lee. We're going to go to Kentucky right after this.
So, moving on.
Yeah, let's bring that mic live. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense continues now here in the CZ studios at the Patriot Mobile Command Center, patriotmobile.com/AAR. This is a Patriot Mobile activated phone. You can do the same thing, and it's going to be fun because many of you will if you're at the National Rifle Association annual meetings. Patriot has a pretty good-sized booth over there, unlike those other three carriers that we don't like to name because it's really not fair. And that would be T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. We don't like to name them. But those three that shall go unnamed, T-Mobile and Verizon and AT&T, will not have booths anywhere near Patriot Mobile or anywhere near Houston for that matter because they're not there. But Patriot Mobile is. Make sure to visit them at the booth if you show up at the NRA meetings, and tens of thousands of you will be there. So make sure to go and talk to them. Tell them you heard about them on AAR. Many of you have already done that. Use that promo code. Take advantage of the discounts over there. They'll explain everything to you. It's patriotmobile.com/AAR. And you can, Greg, ask me real quick how many cups of blackout coffee I had to start my day today.
Mark, how many cups of blackout coffee did you have to start your day today?
An extra one. I had 3.
All right.
Yeah, I had 3. And that's because I got a real good night's sleep, and I got up fairly early and had 3 cups of coffee. So that was it. Blackoutcoffee.com/AAR, ladies and gentlemen. Get on it. It's the real deal. Taking the coffee drinking world by storm, by the way, and there's a reason for that. The flavor of this coffee is bold and robust, better than anything I've ever had. Blackoutcoffee.com. And you can find them and all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, welcome back, my brother. It's always fun to have you here, always. So, Lee, I guess I want to go to Kentucky now. Did you want to add anything to the previous segment? You ready to move on to Kentucky? Let's go to Kentucky.
Let's go talk about Governor Beshear.
Oh, Kentucky, what are you doing? You know, there are some states, there are certain things. Lee, there are pairs of words that don't belong together in the same sentence. You'll agree. Career and politician, right. I use that. I think that's a great example. Career and politician, those two words do not belong together in the same sentence, right? Well, Democrat governor in Kentucky, those words don't belong together in the same sense. Kentucky, by all leaps and bounds, a very conservative state and a very gun-friendly state, I might add, as well. So first off,
yes.
Why does Kentucky even have a Democrat governor? And we could use the same example going to Montana with Tester. You know, there's lots of, we could come up with lots of different examples. But, you know, Beshear, why? Why Kentucky? Why? Kentucky, you're listening on a number of stations. Why? Somebody help me out here. Why? Lee, try to fix me. Why?
I have no idea. I have no idea how Beshear got elected in Kentucky. I remember when it happened, I was like, huh, he's a Dem? Oh, my God.
He's got family history.
He's already upset NRA, Kentucky gun owners, you name it. He's nuts. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I was hoping that you would explain it to me, but some things are just going to go down as life's great mysteries. This will be one of them. And then he just craps all over you when it comes to gun owners. You know, another guy that comes to mind as an example of this is Manchin, for example. Okay?
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, I guess I could explain Manchin away to a certain extent because Manchin was, over the years, first of all, he'd been in office too long, the career and politician, you know, all of them have been, for crying out loud. But I could take Manchin back to the old blue dog definition days if you wanted to because he'd been around long enough. But the party,
100%.
the party
100%.
shifted so far left on him, and he knew that. He fought his own party on a number of issues I'll give him some credit for, we'll be fair. But come on, guys. Anyway, Beshear, he just vetoed HB 312. Now, guys, HB 312, and I'm going to go off the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms press release here, Lee. I did text it to you. I'm sure you've already seen it because of your involvement with the organizations. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to read the release yourself, you can visit ccrkba.org and click news and read the releases yourself. I would highly recommend that you get on that email list, by the way, and really stay up on this stuff. But he vetoed House Bill 312, which, according to Alan Gottlieb, go off this, was a deplorable act of sexism which leaves young women unarmed and vulnerable to brutal attack, the CCRKBA declared. Now, I'm a longtime member of the board of directors there, over a dozen years, and let's quote Alan Gottlieb. While he claims to be a different kind of Democrat, Governor Beshear has revealed himself to be just one more anti-gun rights politician adhering to the party's increasingly far-left dogma. he has shown his true colors by preventing a provisional license for 18 to 20-year-olds to carry a concealed handgun in public, amounting to a direct attack on young women, especially young women of color who are frequently in need of protection. The late, great First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who was one of the first women in New York State to have a full carry license, is probably spinning in her grave. We've all heard the excuses from the Democrats for opposing legal carry for self-defense by young adults. And it all translates to social bigotry against young black and Latino males, to whom they often refer to as being too impulsive to exercise their Second Amendment rights. How many of these same young Americans join the military, start businesses, enter into contracts, get married, and start families? The idea that such citizens can do all of these things yet be denied the means by which to protect themselves by the stroke of a governor's pen is disgusting. And Allen continues, the media is playing this veto up as a way Bashir honors a friend who was killed in the Old National Bank shooting in 2023. And that is exactly what he said in his statement when he vetoed, Lee.
Yep.
That he was
Yep.
honoring a
I read
friend who was a victim of gun violence. And Gottlieb goes on, but that's nonsense. The killer in that outrage was 25 years old and left an appalling manifesto explaining his rampage as an act against gun violence. And Bashir knows it. He's allowing the actions of a dead lunatic to guide policy regarding the rights of responsible young adults, and especially young, vulnerable women. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The General Assembly, Allen continued, should make short work of this veto by overriding it at its session next week. Politicians such as Governor Bashir like to pay lip service to young adults in order to get their votes, but as we just witnessed, it's all a facade. Now, I know Alan Gottlieb very, very well, ladies and gentlemen. He is a dear friend of mine. He's like my father, my mentor, my grandpa, my brother, my son, my spouse. We are that close. And I can promise you he was holding back when I read these statements from him, Lee. And if he really wanted to say or could have said what he wanted to say, and he didn't because he's a professional, I wouldn't have been able to read it over FCC-controlled airwaves. But he's angry about this, and that's evident by the length of his statement. Go ahead.
First of all, I've read hundreds of his statements. I've never seen anyone that long.
Right.
It was very well said. I like what NRA's ILA, the Institute for Legislative Action, said. It would seem that Governor Bashir would rather recycle boilerplate gun control talking points than listen to the will of the people of Kentucky. And that is key. The will of the people. Kentuckians wanted this bill.
And it passed.
It's
Yeah, now I'm going to make a prediction here. And when it comes to vetoes and overrides, it can be tough to do this because there's a lot going on.
Tough.
Yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes in politics that we're unaware of. And it's all dirty and it all stinks and it's all rot. And we'll find out if that's going on here because this was passed overwhelmingly in both sides, in both houses in Kentucky. This should easily be overridden. Now, a number of news outlets picked up on Alan Gottlieb's statements because they know Alan, and these statements, if you know anything about Mr. Gottlieb, were quite firm. And as you said, and as I noticed as well, this was a lengthy statement.
Fire.
Absolutely.
They were on fire.
He should absolutely see a veto override of this. Do you care to make a prediction? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this gets overridden. 25 seconds. Go ahead.
I completely agree. There's no reason not to support this. 18, 19, 20-year-olds, you can be in the military, you can get a machine gun. You can't buy one in Kentucky at 18? You can't carry one in Kentucky at 18? That's crazy. This needs to be overridden. I think this will be one of the first steps to overriding the governor.
I believe you're right, and it will have to we'll have to see it quickly. It's going to have to be acted on fairly quickly in Kentucky.
Without a doubt.
Kentucky, come on. Step up if you live in Kentucky, and many of you do. We have a lot of listeners in Kentucky, Lexington, the Harlan area, all over the place in Kentucky. Berea, you're tuned in right now. Make phone calls to your legislator, please. We'll be back. One more segment with Lee right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense continues. Mark Walters and Lee Williams here with you. Let's bring Lee back up on this stage. We can do that. Where are you, Lee? Let's try to do that just for... Where am I? Oh, there's Lee. He's smaller than I am right now. Hey, guys, if you're listening on radio, you heard that rejoin. That rejoin is attorneysonretainer.us, and I'm holding my card in my hand. It's usually in my pocket because I carry a firearm with me everywhere I go. And this card means that I also carry an attorney. There's a little attorney hanging out of my back pocket screaming, "Let me out, let me out, let me out." This is your attorney right here, as Lee grins on camera. This is your attorney. And this is the card that I carry. My son carries it. My wife carries it. My dad carries it. My daughter carries it. My mom carries it. Family, friends all over the country carry it. You should carry it too, because it literally means you have an attorney if, God forbid, the worst day of your life unfolds before you and you are forced to use that firearm that you carry for protection in self-defense. You're going to be investigated. Let your attorneys handle it all. It's $37 a month. I don't know how, all I can do is yell at you, and I don't want to do that. But this is so stupid not to have this thing in your wallet. If you carry a gun, have an attorney. It is the best $37 a month you can spend. I can promise you that. You will sleep better at night. And when you walk out of your home, regardless of where you go, regardless of where you live, well, maybe in particular where you live, particularly if you're behind the blue wall, guess what? This card can keep you out of a hell of a lot of trouble. $37 a month, not $37 an hour. $37 a month. You'd be hard pressed to find an attorney for $37 an hour, even quarter hour. Just get it done. Attorneysonretainer.us. Don't make that mistake and find yourself in a situation as, guys, how many people use their guns in self-defense every year? Don't be that person that slaps yourself in the head and says, "Why didn't I listen? Now I have to spend $1,500 an hour and mortgage everything I own." For what? It wasn't necessary. Attorneysonretainer.us, they've got you covered. All of our great partners have you covered, regardless of who they are. Make sure to visit them, budsgunshop.com. Get something from Buds online. Support the businesses that support this radio broadcast all over America as we continue our growth across this country month after month after month with new affiliates. We couldn't do it without them, guys, and we need you to support them. One of them is VCDL, Virginia Citizens Defense League. You're going to start hearing spots for them tomorrow. We're going to be bringing them on next week. They're in big trouble, and we have a really easy way for you to help them. It's real simple. We'll tell you all about that beginning tomorrow. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, welcome back in, my brother.
Thank you. VCDL is doing great work, by the way.
Oh, and boy, do they have their work cut out for them right now, Lee. Oh, my gosh, it's an absolute mess over at in the state of Virginia. It is literally a mess over there, Lee. It's bad. It's rough. It's tough. I don't know why I can't keep you up on camera. There you go. Anyway, Lee, we'll move on from Kentucky. I'm with you. I'm going to predict an override of this in Kentucky. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in Kentucky, get angry enough about this. Go back and listen to what this man said, this Democrat said, when he was courting your vote if you're 18, 19, 20 years old. And now look what he's done. Hopefully there's an override, Lee. And I think Gottlieb's statement said enough. If you want to read that statement for yourself, folks, it's real easy. ccrkba.org. Make sure to check that out. Oh, and by the way, speaking of the Citizens Committee, once we get a winner announced, I'm going to be notified, and I'll notify you of who is going to walk away with that Ruger precision rifle. So stay tuned on that. Now,
Beautiful gun.
Yeah,
beautiful,
It's
beautiful gun.
like a $2,200 to $2,500 package. So, guys, now I'm going to take you over to, we'll go to SCOTUS now. I don't report on SCOTUS the way others do. For example, our good friend Cam Edwards will tell you every week what the Supreme Court didn't do this week. And I'm glad he does that because I use him as a source as well as Lee and everybody else around the country. But I like to report to you when they take action, not when they didn't take action. But that kind of happened. This one kind of matters a little bit because they did take action. They denied cert in a case that just gives Illinois, bragging rights, which is so god-awful hard to put up with. They took no action on the so-called assault weapons ban cases, Lee, okay? And what they did do was they denied cert in the Chantal case, Chantal versus Rao, And that's the challenge to the law banning concealed carry on public transportation in Illinois and the City of Chicago Transit Authority, similar rule prohibiting lawful carry. And this has been floating around at conference at the Supreme Court for a while, and they flat out denied cert in that case. Now, that doesn't mean that they win anything, but what it does mean is that the Seventh Circuit's denial stays in place because it was a ridiculous ruling, upholding the ban, serving, and I quote from Cam, as a guiding light for other anti-2A judges across the country. The appellate court had concluded that despite the Supreme Court's comments to the contrary in Bruin, quote unquote, sensitive places can be defined so broadly that they encompass virtually all crowded public spaces where vulnerable people are likely to be present. Well, being vulnerable is why I carry a gun, Lee. So yet again,
Well, look at New York. I mean, look at where you cannot carry a gun in the city of New York. It's pretty much everywhere. Times Square, everywhere. The whole Supreme Court, they blew it.
it's maddening.
I'd like this. Yeah, I would like to say that a future court will readdress this issue because it's critical. It's as important as the assault weapons case. It's equally as important as the assault weapons case. Let me just say that.
They all are equally important because they give us back what was taken from us. And that's a chip away of our rights. Now, I do want to point out, and this could be a mitigating factor here, but there was no circuit split on this issue, which is generally required, or not really required, there's no requirement, but it's usually when we see split circuit decisions around the country that the Supreme Court steps in to decide. And as of right now, there was no circuit split on this issue, banning concealed carry on public transit, yet. And Illinois, in their arguments, made it clear that they felt because there was no split, it was unnecessary for the court to intervene in the case. So I believe, knowing the Second Amendment Foundation and how we do business over there at the SAF, we are always seeking those splits. So look for that to happen. Now, on action the Supreme Court did not take, they still have not touched the assault weapons ban cases before them at conference. We are hopeful, Lee, that they will take one of these cases and make that announcement relatively soon. But those decisions come out on Monday, so we'll look at it again on Monday. And guys, if you don't hear me talk about it, it means no action. Trust me when I tell you that if they take one of these cases, you will be the first to know. Lee, are they going to do it?
They better. There are several good cases waiting for them.
They have to do it. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is going to get up and do it again tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, precisely because they don't want us to. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, where can people find you, my brother?
ArmedAmericanNews.org, thegunwriter.substack.com, but we hope you go to SAF.org. SAF's and Second Amendment Foundation.org.
That'll do it. And Lee, you had some good comments in here. I'll forward them to you by text. I didn't get a chance to read them on air, but a lot of people love the work that you do and appreciate what you're doing for Tata Domiak and trust you implicitly. One of them said you're one of the only true journalists left in America. We appreciate everything you do. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, make sure to follow Lee the Gunwriter Williams on all of his platforms. I'm going to get up and do it again tomorrow. Carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your club. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow, guys. Thanks for being here.